Hello pageant family, I'm the Pageant Nerd. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, I take a fresh and nerdy look at the world of beauty pageants. And of course, we're well and truly in Miss Universe season, so I've been going fact and stat crazy with my preview videos here on YouTube and with my nerdy facts on Instagram. We're at the business end of the 2-week pageant, with 84 women taking to the stage in Wednesday's prelims. And just a matter of days or even hours until finals night, depending on when you watch this. Today I'm going to have a look at the prelims. Who stood out for me, who exceeded my expectations, who might pull off a surprise, and maybe who underperformed. Without further ado, let's get into it. For me, there were dozens of queens that did well in swimwear, but fewer that wowed me in gowns. Today, I'm going to select a top 20 purely based on combined swimwear and evening gown performances. To be clear, this is not my final predictions, as I'll do a separate video on that. Alright, we begin at number 20 with Singapore. Priyanka was very much on my pre-arrival radar. She was in my Dark Horse preview, you may recall, and she didn't disappoint me in prelims. She had a great stage presence. It's obvious she's in the fitness industry, and based on her swim and gown performances, plus her great speaking ability, I think she's got a great shot of making the top 20. At number 19, Nepal. Can I just say how heartwarming it's been to see the support Jane has received in El Salvador. She's a real barrier breaker. And while her presence at Miss Universe doesn't please everyone, in my opinion, she did a great job in prelims. She performed well in both rounds, that swimsuit was a great choice for her, and that gown was really beautiful. 18. Lebanon. Lebanon has sent so many beautiful women to Miss Universe, and Maya is one of the faces of this year's pageant, and she did so well on Wednesday. But it's been exactly 50 years, yes half a century, since Lebanon's last placement, 2 years after Georgina Risk won the title. I'd love to see that drought broken this year. At 17, Brazil. Brazil is coming off consecutive non-placements, but Maria has a good energy about her on stage. I thought she was strong in both rounds, and I can't believe she's just 19 years old. To me, she looks a little older than that. I wouldn't be surprised if Maria makes the first cut, but equally I don't think it'd be a huge shock if she didn't. At 16, Curaçao. Kim is following in the footsteps of Gabriela dos Santos, who made top 5 for Curaçao last year. But with that impressive passerella, this tiny Caribbean nation might just have consecutive placements on their hands. I thought she performed really strongly in prelims. She projects really well, so I was pleased with her efforts. 15. Dominican Republic. This is a tough one for me. I know Mariana is very high on a lot of people's lists, but I'm just going to come out and say it. For me, she's a contender for El Tocuyo. I don't know what it is. She's an incredibly beautiful woman who did a good job on stage, apart from walking off too soon in gowns. I think it's because I don't get a strong sense of her personality. I'm interested to see how this one goes. 14. Chile. Celeste was absolutely gorgeous as I expected. A really strong performance in swim, and my goodness, that gown was just delightful. It's been 19 years since Chile made the semi-finals and 36 since Cecilia Boloco's victory. I've got a good feeling Celeste can make at least the top 20. Can she go further? Let me know what you think. At 13, Mexico. Melissa is a mid-range contender for me, but not possibly quite top 10 material. She had a strong performance in both swim and gown, but I think there are better passerellas out there, so that's why I've placed her here. That's not to say she couldn't pull a Sofia Aragon in 2019 and place much higher. In fact, her gown gave me Sofia vibes a little. At 12, Peru. I was really interested to see how Camila would perform, and for me, she didn't disappoint. I thought she looked stunning in both rounds, and I loved that her performance was quite understated. It was encouraging to see some of the favourites not overdo it on Wednesday without too many dramatic dress reveals or choreography. Great job, Camila. At 11, El Salvador. In one of my preview videos, I said Isabella was a dark horse contender largely because she's the host delegate. And true, her sash doesn't do her any favours, but my goodness did she turn it out for her home crowd. El Salvador hasn't placed since 1996, but I think we can be pretty secure in seeing that drought broken. At 10, USA. For someone who was crowned only last month, Noelia performed like she's been preparing for over a year. She did have a few tries at making it to Miss USA before finally winning, mind you. Noelia is carrying the pressure of a back-to-back after Arabini's win last year. I think she's got an outside chance of doing that, but nonetheless she had a really strong night in a beautiful gown. At 9, Australia. Mireya's evolution over the past 2 weeks has been phenomenal. So much so I wouldn't be surprised if she gets Australia back into the top 5 for the first time in 8 years. Her swimwear performance was sexy and sweet at the same time, and her evening gown was gorgeous, with Renee Ayres vibes from 2012. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. At number 8, South Africa. Bryony was on fire, there's no two ways about it, and it didn't come as a surprise to me whatsoever. She was glowing in both swim and gown, and not just because of her unique gold dress. I was really drawn in by her, and I think she's got a great shot of getting South Africa back into the latter stages, with her speaking abilities on top of it all. At 7, India. Shweta's dancing and choreography experience was put on full display here, and she was a real standout to me. Her passarella was strong and seductive in swimwear, and while she had some dramatics in her evening gown performance, which I usually don't love, I thought it suited the drama of the stunning dark blue gown. Shweta's definitely one to watch. At 6, Philippines. With her hair slicked back, Michelle let her stunning face and her relaxed passarella do the talking. It was nice to see her gown was a tribute to her mum's winning Miss International look from 1979. Michelle was certainly one of the top performers in prelims, and I think she staked a strong claim to the title. She's definitely a real contender. At 5, Colombia. I've got to say I hadn't seen Camila make much of an impact during the earlier pageant activities, but boy did she burst back onto my radar on Wednesday. From the moment she came out in swim, she made her intentions clear. And when Colombia comes out in one of their quintessentially Colombia gowns, you know they mean business. At 4, Puerto Rico. It was really hard to rank these final few women, but one thing is for certain, Carla Gilfu has a really strong chance of taking Puerto Rico's 6th Miss Universe crown. She was utterly radiant on stage. I couldn't take my eyes off her. I think she's pretty much a lock of reaching the top 5, and who knows, maybe even higher. At 3, Thailand. In terms of prelims performances, it was a toss-up for me between Carla and Antonia for 3rd and 4th spots. Coincidentally, the two super queens. It's no surprise I think Antonia has a strong chance of winning the title. While her performance was impeccable, one thing I noticed was her gown, quite similar to her winning look from Miss Universe Thailand, though I think I preferred that one, which seemed to fit her better. Anyway, I'm sure she'll have an even more spectacular gown for finals night. I really can't wait. At 2, Venezuela. Diana was a really pleasant surprise for me. As I've mentioned over on Instagram, by my calculations, she was the 5,000th woman to grace the Miss Universe stage in the pageant's history. I'll link to that post in the description. But she truly exceeded my expectations, her energy, her elegance, that jaw-dropping gown. That to me is the Venezuela I yearn to see at Miss Universe. It really made me sit up and take notice. I've got to say I didn't know if she was a real chance of taking the crown, but rest assured after that performance, she's absolutely right up there. And at number 1, Nicaragua. I'm not the only one who said so, but Shanice Palacios was my top performer of the night. and if I'm being honest, one of the most compelling prelims performances at Miss Universe in many, many years. I kind of knew she'd put on a great show after her national victory, but absolutely everything about her on Wednesday was utter perfection. The walk, the turns, the grace, that sexy but stylish gown. She truly is the complete package. Now, I've said it once, I'll say it again. This doesn't necessarily mean she's my top pick for the title. She's definitely going to be right up there. Just wow, wow, wow. As I said, there were lots of other women who impressed me in either swim or gown. Cameroon is gorgeous, and she started really strong in swimwear, but sadly I didn't love the gown. Likewise with Costa Rica, she's got great stage presence nonetheless. The other South American queens, Guatemala, Honduras and Panama, did great in swimwear. I thought Spain did well in both. She could make the cut. Namibia and Mauritius were pleasant surprises. I'd love to see either the Netherlands or Portugal get through. They both did great. Jamaica looked stunning in both rounds, but I thought her facial expressions weren't quite varied enough and a little too serious. I love Canada and Great Britain, but as it seems to be the trend at the moment, they had what I can only describe as prom-like dresses, which were a bit disappointing for me. Ecuador was stronger in evening gown, as was Bahrain, but she overdid it a little bit in swimwear. Actually, a lot. Pakistan made a wonderful debut performance for her country. She's absolutely stunning, just needs to tighten up the passerella. Russia was gorgeous, but her Miss Grand International moves in swimwear let her down. And you know that I'm very much about positivity and kindness, but it would be really remiss of me if I didn't address what I consider to be the big disappointment from prelims, and that is Miss France, Diane Lair. Now, she was one of my top 5 pre-arrival favourites, and that of many others. But her performance to me was sadly quite underwhelming. I really thought she'd bring an incredible energy to the stage, but her swimwear performance was just so-so, and her gown choice was, again, to me, quite poor. Poor colour combination and not impactful at all. Diane is a great speaker, very eloquent and intelligent, so she may well get through to the semis on the strength of her interview. But if it were solely based on her swimwear and evening gown prelims performances, I don't think she'd make the top 20. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. She might also end up as El Tocuyo. So, how does all that compare with your selections? As I said, this isn't my final predictions, as this list was purely based on swim and gown performance on Wednesday. You'll have to wait for my final predictions a little bit longer, but they're coming soon. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. I'll be back soon with my all-important final predictions for Miss Universe 2023. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me, the pageant nerd.